Shalom, Manishma. Thank you for watching. My name is Tahila. I run Kifar Publishing, and one of the programs I have is Gan Makom Shalom, which is a Hebrew preschool program, and you can learn more about it with the link in the description below. So this video is going to be about some of the games and the activities that I use in the classroom to teach my students the Alef Beit. So if you remember from the first video, one of the things that I did is when we would recite the Alef Beit, we would say not only the letter, but the sound that the letter made. So, for instance, Beit B, Veit V, Gimel G, etc. And every time we learned a new letter, we would add it to the chant and start from the beginning from Alef. And just say it until we had mastered the entire Alef Beit along with, along with the sound that each letter made. And then from then we could just add the vowels and start reading. So all of the activities that I'm going to show you are really easy to make, really inexpensive, and generally speaking, you can use them in a number of different ways. If you know anything about me, I like things that are quick, and that can be used to teach either different things, or you can switch up how you use them. So even though you're practicing the same information, you're doing it in different ways, so it doesn't feel so repetitive. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this Aleph Beit sheet. Basically, it's exactly what it is. It is a sheet that I wrote the Aleph Beit on with a permanent marker, an old sheet, and I would spread this out on the floor, and I use this in two different ways. So one way that I would do it is give each child a letter to stand on, or they can select their own letter that they want to stand on. And then I would call out a different letter, like let's say they start on Gimel, I would call out maybe Lamed. And they would have to jump from Gimel, try to land on Lamed without landing on any other colors, or any other letters, sorry, or falling over. And so that was a lot of fun, and you could do it either where you have them jump from letter to letter as you call it out, or leap like a frog, or see if they can hop to it, or however it is that you want to do it. So that was one way. The other way to do it is to have it sort of like a twister game, and that was also useful for teaching them left from right. And so, have them put, the left hand on one letter, right leg on another letter, etc., etc., similarly to the way that you would play Twister. And that one, again, is also a lot of fun, especially if you have, I would do it with one child on it at a time, and then I would let all of them do it at a time, and, having them falling over each other and really trying to get to the letters is just a lot of fun to watch, and they had a lot of fun playing the game. So that's one activity. Another activity was what I call the Aleph Beit Detective. And so one of the things that I like to do is incorporating whatever the students are interested in at the time into our lesson. So for instance, they went through a phase where they were obsessed with all things Ninja Turtle. And so I created a Ninja Turtle Rescue Mission board game that we used as a review board game. So for whatever topic we were on, I would ask questions, and they would have to correctly answer questions in order to get the Ninja Turtles out of Shredder's cage and away to safety. And so I'll do a video on that, just showing you how I did that. But anyway, they were going through this phase of, catching bad guys. They were all detectives and police officers, and they would catch the bad guys and take them to jail. So what I would do is I got this cardboard. If you see any of the tutorials that I have on the blog, on the website, and the link is below, I use this cardboard a lot for so many different things. It's cheap and it comes in handy and it's durable. So I just have the letters of the Aleph Beit on each of these cards. And what I would do is I would send the students out of the classroom, and I would hide, usually about 5 or 6 at a time, hide them in different places in the classroom. I wouldn't hide them too well, because if you know anything about children, they can't look for anything at all. So, you just kind of tuck them in places where they're kind of visible, but not the whole letter is showing. And then I would have them come back in the classroom, and I had a police hat that I would give them, and the box actually that I keep these letters in. And so the box was the jail, and each student would get a turn to wear the police hat, and I would tell them, okay, we are looking for Alef. Alef is the bad guy. You need to find Alef and, put Alef in jail. And so, again, that was a lot of fun because they would have to go and search and try to find the card with the letter Aleph on it. And each time they pulled it out, or they, selected a card, they would have to show it to their classmates, and their classmates would help them decide either no, you have the wrong person, like you have the wrong letter, or yes, that's the right one, and then they would have to rush and put them in jail. So you could do this in a number of different ways. You could have it where they could be a doctor or a nurse, and you can have them find the letter that's sick and take them to the hospital, or they can be firefighters and they have to rescue the right letter from a fire. You can use it to teach a number of different professions, or you can just adapt this to whatever it is that your students are interested in at the time. Another activity that I did, and I wish I had printed pictures of this, I don't, but you can see the pictures in the blog post. The link is below. And this was a really fun, really easy activity that we did outside using sidewalk chalk and spray bottles of water. And so we have a slab of cement outside. And so what I did was I would write the letters that we were working on, let's say Alef through Hey, and I would write those letters outside on the chalk in different colors. So maybe a row Alef, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey in red, a row in blue, a row in green, and maybe one in yellow. And this was a way for me to not only help them recognize the letters of the Alef Bet, but also to review the colors. So I would give, let's say, 2 children at a time. I would give them a spray bottle full of water and assign them a letter and a color. So, one person might have to find the Dalet Sahof, the yellow Dalet, and another person may have to find, the Alef Kahol, the blue Alef. And once they identified the correct letter and the correct color, they would get to spray the entire letter and basically wash it away with the water in the spray bottle. So again, a lot of these activities are super simple, but they're fun for children. They really liked being able to spray stuff with water and wash it away for whatever reason. And it's great because by the time they were done, they had, cleaned off my cement. But they enjoyed the activity, and I like that it was reviewing not only letters but also colors with them, and then also fine motor skills, because to be able to aim this spray directly at the letter that you want to wash away takes skill. So it also is helpful in that regard. And the last activity that I'm going to show you is a sorting activity. It's less fun than the others, but definitely necessary. Also helps with fine motor skills and letter recognition. And so again, this is the same cardboard that these letters were made out of. So the same cardboard, I just cut them smaller to make these little Alef Bet tiles. And I put them in bags for each of the students, or the older ones who could do this activity. And then I made this out of egg cartons, as you can see. Like I said, I don't have to buy anything. I can use what I already have. Great. And I wrote the letters of the Alef Bet here. This is the one that they started with, and I would fill them in as they learned the letters. So initially, it was just Alef through Hey, and then I added this next set, Vav through Kaf, and then the final set here when they were able to manage sorting all of the different letters. And so basically it's as simple as it looks, where they each get the bag with their letters and their tray, and they have to sort the different letters in each tray based on what the letter is and where it goes on the tray. And so this is a good independent activity depending on the age of your child. Busy activity, let's say you're doing something with someone else and you need something to keep another child occupied. This is a really good activity for that too. And then it also helps with certain letters that it can be a little tricky to differentiate between, such as Bet and Kaf. Some students have trouble differentiating between those two. Also Shin and Sin are the big ones. And so that helps them, really identify those as well. So that's it for the day. The only other thing actually that I wanted to share with you, and this has nothing to do with the Alef Bet, but more about colors. I had a session with a student this morning in which I taught her some of her colors, and then I actually read to her this book, Brown Bear, What Do You See? And it's in English, but I actually read it to her in Hebrew. And this book and other books like it, the What Do You Hear? These are really, really good for teaching students simple vocabulary, the names of animals, and in this case, the colors. So, for instance, with this page, you know, sus kahol, mata ro'eh, blue horse, what do you see? Sus kahol, mata ro'eh, ani ro'eh tzfardea yarok. So I would say, okay, what is yarok? What color is yarok? And she would say, okay, green. And I'll say, okay, tzfardea yarok. So give me an animal that's green, an animal that's usually green. What do you think a tzfardea is? And, you know, she told me a turtle, which is a really good guess, but it's not correct. It's a frog. So this, again, is a really, really great book that you can use to help teach colors, which, again, I know has nothing to do with the video, but I just wanted to share that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if there's anything that you want to see specifically, let me know in the comments below. If you have any feedback, let me know about that too. Otherwise, have a great week, Shvuah Tov, and I'll see you next time. Lehitraot.